think the unknown of fishing is one of the things I'm addicted to. The other thing is the bite. That is, I think, what has always kept me going, and the one thing that I've never been able to satisfy. Doesn't matter how many fish I catch or how I catch them, that split second or that half a second, whatever it is, that it takes for your brain to register from your fingertips to your brain that you got a bite, right? You're holding that rod in your hand, whatever the technique is, you feel the bite in your hand, and however long it takes to register from your fingertips to your brain, that is the moment that I'm addicted to. And it's like I just can't get enough of that. That's why I'm on the water at daylight. That's why I get off the water at dark, because I'm always trying to find the next thing, or always trying to get that next bite. I grew up in a household where my mom took me outdoors all the time. Whether it was hiking into mountain lakes or fishing from the bank along the highway, it didn't matter. She always kept me outside. She knew that I had a love for fishing. She could see that early on, slight obsession, even at 2-3 years old. When I was 8 years old, a friend of hers got married to a guy that owned a Skeeter ZX 195 with a Yamaha 225 on the back of it, the old 3.1 liter 2-strokes. And he took me out for the first time. My mom somehow convinced him to take a 8 or 9-year-old kid. That day, I pretty much decided that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Because at that time, I didn't know you could go target a specific species, or that you could have, a boat that was built for a specific species. I just caught whatever would bite. And when I learned about bass fishing and tournament bass fishing, and that people actually made a living doing it, my entire life changed, and all of my focus went to how I make that happen the rest of my life. So at 8 years old, I said, this is what I'm going to do. When you do your little class reports in school, and they're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And everyone's like, I want to be a fireman or a doctor or a police officer or a teacher. I said, I want to be a professional bass fisherman. And teachers in Idaho didn't even really know what to say to that. We moved around a lot of different houses and stuff. Some had running water, some didn't. Sometimes they were trailers, Airstream trailers, sometimes they weren't. We lived in a bunch of different places, but always North Idaho. And so it's still my home base today. Like, it's in my blood. I love everything about it. I love the community. I love the mountains, the lakes. I love the tight-knit fishing community that we have here that competes in tournaments. And I still, to this day, I'll come home and fish some of the local tournaments just to see some of those same people that I saw when I started fishing tournaments at 8 and 9 years old, and as well as all the new blood that's coming up. And it's just like a big family around here. I have always had a massive support system when it comes to my family. I arguably live just about as far away as anybody else could possibly live, and they've always showed up. Every single Bassmaster Classic I've been to, my parents have been there, my grandfather's been there. They've made appearances on Bassmaster Live coming through the woods at Grand Lake. They've been there for the Angler of the Year tournaments and speeches, and they've always showed up my entire life. And that's the reason that I've been able to be successful and continue to do this for 14 years, is because I have that family support. And now I have a family of my own. I've got my wife Tiffany, I've got my 2 daughters. They travel with me on the road in the RV, and that's what keeps me going day after day, right? When you have those bad days, you're able to come back and have a support system to lean on that gets you through those tough times. When you're obsessed, you don't quit. I think that's the biggest difference. If you just like fishing and you continue to get beat down, because tournaments fishing specifically is the most losingest sport there is. Like, there's no other sport that I know of that you can consistently get beat and still compete and make a living doing it. But even the most winningest anglers in the history of the sport have lost more than they've won. When you have a career like that, right, or you're competing in events that are that mentally and physically grueling, you have to be obsessed with it. Because if you get kicked in the teeth enough, even if you love it, you'll learn not to love it if you get kicked in the teeth enough times. And so you have to have that obsession, that addiction to it that continually pushes you, right, where you can't live without it. You physically and mentally cannot live without being on the water, being around it, and competing. When we talk about family, that extends beyond just the bloodline of family that I have, but that also extends into a lot of the companies that I've worked for. They essentially have been family to me. You take companies like Skeeter and Yamaha. I've been with them my entire career. The first bass boat I ever rode in was a Skeeter Yamaha, and I've met some of the people from those companies when I was 16 years old, when I started fishing the Bass Nation events around the West Coast. And when I qualified, they looked after me, and that was 14 years ago that I won the national championship. And I've never been in another boat. I mean, competing on the Elite Series, it's always been Skeeter, it's always been Yamaha. The only motor I've ever ran my entire life has been a Yamaha. Different versions of it, right? 2 strokes, 4 strokes. But the only motor I've ever ran has been a Yamaha. And I think the reason for that is that it gives me a peace of mind, right? They always talk about the reliability of the motor, but that's not just a marketing ploy. That's a real performance thing of that motor. And it's one of the reasons that you always see me the last guy to check in, right? If you go to the guy that checks us in at the Elite Series and you ask him who's the last guy to check in every day is, most likely he's going to say me, because I'm going to push it to where I've got 30 seconds left, 15 seconds left. If I feel like I can make another cast and have enough time to land a bass and coal, I'm going to make a cast. And to do that, you have to have that reliability and know that when I run back to the console, throw my life jacket on and turn that key, you have to know that it's going to start, because if you're pushing it that close, you can't have it mess up. This is my old hard hat. It's a little beat up. It's a little melted right here. I believe that is from setting it on my bar from when I was sawing. It is cracked and split open. That's from a few trees falling on top of me. And it's all beat up. This thing is, I think I got it when I was probably 18. So that was all the way back in 06. And you can see right here, I spelled it this way on purpose, but it says live to fish. I made this one day out of black duct tape. And when I was cutting trees and logging and building logging roads out in the mountains of Idaho, that is the reason I did it, right? I literally lived to fish. I worked to provide and fund my habits or my obsession of fishing, but I knew even when I was cutting trees down that this was only a temporary hard hat to be replaced by this, right? I knew that I didn't want to wear boots and corks and run a chainsaw every day. I wanted to wear flip-flops, sunglasses, and hats and throw a fishing rod. And this was just a gateway to get me there. And I still use it to this day. Like if I'm cutting trees around the property or something, I still wear this same one. And I've just never taken that off. It's just a constant kind of reminder of where I came from, to be thankful of where I came from. And even when you lose sight of like how lucky we are to do things, I can look at this and remember how badly I wanted to be in the exact position that I am right now. If I had to give any advice to a young kid, boy, girl, doesn't matter, they said they wanted to do this, I would say do not be afraid to sacrifice. If you want to make it, there will be sacrifices, right? That means not going out and partying with your friends on Fridays and Saturdays. You're gonna miss birthdays, you're gonna miss weddings, you're gonna miss family events, but to do something, right, to chase a dream, you have to be willing to give something else up. There has to be a level of sacrifice, because you only have 24 hours in a day, and you have to make the most of that. And to do that, to make it to be one of the top 100 in the world, you know, there's hundreds of thousands of people out there trying to do it. So you have to make sure that you are doing everything in your control. And the first step of that is kind of putting all your eggs in that one basket, right? Of saying, like, I'm gonna go do this. Any of the guys that have made it, you talk to them, they have some level of a story of that level of sacrifice, right? They gave something up, whether it was a job or they moved away from home, or that something happened. There was a level of sacrifice to chase that obsession, to make it a dream and make it come true. I really don't know what's next for me. I still got a lot of life left in me, fishing wise. I'm in this funny place where I've been around long enough that I'm like one of the old guys, but I'm not old. I just started so young, and I'm older than a lot of the guys in it now. I've completed 14 years on the Elite Series, and it's been an amazing ride, and I still have, I hope, at least another 14, 15, who knows how many years left in me. I'm just gonna do it until I feel like it's my time, and I don't know when that'll be. That could be 30 years from now, or until I get kicked out, who knows. But I'm gonna just keep doing it until I lose that obsession, right? Until I feel like I'm not chasing that bite. When that day comes, then I'll know that I'm ready to hang it up, but I don't see that time coming anytime soon.